Political tension just exploded this week, and the fallout is shaking even the MAGA base. What was meant to be a unifying moment has turned into a bitter fight over free speech, political violence, and the limits of government power. Let's get right into the first key statement that set off this firestorm.
During moments like this, I believe we have a responsibility to be clear and unequivocal in calling out all forms of political violence and making clear it is all wrong. That shouldn't be hard to do. Unfortunately, some, from the dark corners of the internet all the way to the Oval Office, want to cherry pick which instances of political violence they want to condemn. Listen, doing that only further divides us, and it makes it harder to heal. There are some who will hear that selective condemnation and take it as a permission slip to commit more violence, so long as it suits their narrative or only targets the other side. Sadly, we've even seen some on the internet openly celebrate political violence or issue calls for revenge in the wake of it. Giving violence a pass or justifying it or looking the other way, it only deepens the divide. Let me be clear, violence is never okay, regardless of the motivation. Violence is never the answer. And we cannot allow violence to be used as a pretext for more violence. We must reject the rhetoric of vengeance and instead focus, as you are today, on the work of healing.
And of course, Donald Trump is guilty of this as well.
Trump says if Governor Walsh had asked him to lower the flags after Melissa and Mark Hortman's murder, that he would have. But back in July, when I asked the president on Air Force One if he planned to call the governor, he told me he thought it would be a waste of time.
Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. Look, he appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
This clip was supposed to calm the public and reject violence, but instead it has deepened the debate over selective outrage and what politicians choose to condemn. And then came a moment that shocked even conservative media.
That's horrific. It's free speech, but you shouldn't be employed anywhere if you're going to say that. And employers, you have an obligation to get rid of people. You need to look at people who are saying horrible things, and they shouldn't be working with you. Businesses cannot discriminate. If you want to go in and print posters with Charlie's pictures on them for a vigil, you have to let them do that. We can prosecute you for that. I have Harmeet Dillon right now in our civil rights unit looking at that. Immediately that Office Depot had done that. We're looking at that.
Pam Bondi's comments immediately triggered a political firestorm, not from Democrats, but from her own side. She went even further in a separate appearance.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
The response was immediate. Conservative voices who usually support Bondi came out swinging. Get rid of her today. This is insane. Conservatives have fought for decades for the right to refuse service to anyone. We won that fight. Now Pam Bondi wants to roll it all back for no reason. This moment shows the deep fracture within the conservative movement, torn between demanding action after tragedy and holding on to First Amendment protections they've championed for years. By Tuesday morning, Bondi was walking back her remarks online, clarifying that only speech crossing into threats would be targeted. But for many on the right, the damage was done, and this incident could mark a turning point. Will this backlash fade, or is this the start of a bigger fight over what counts as free speech in America? Thanks for watching. If you think this debate is far from over, hit the like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments where you draw the line between hate speech and free speech.